Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to this explainer. You know, if you really want to understand how the modern web is actually built, and more importantly, how security pros map it out, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're looking at a massive paradigm shift. It's a shift where JavaScript, of all things, holds these absolutely incredible, hidden architectural secrets. See, in today's cybersecurity landscape, web apps have evolved way beyond those simple, static HTML pages we used to have. They're these dynamic, single-page ecosystems now. And to actually make that magic happen, developers end up packing enormous amounts of functional infrastructure straight into client-side JavaScript. But here's the fascinating catch. By doing this, they routinely and totally inadvertently ship critical architectural details right to your browser. We're talking literal structural maps of their servers. It's honestly like a bank taping the blueprints to its vault right on the front door. It is a silent goldmine just sitting right there in plain text. But of course, this presents a pretty massive problem. Hidden inside all those files are undocumented paths, developer notes, API keys, the whole shebang. Now, if you actually tried to manually comb through multi-megabyte JavaScript files, it'd be an absolute exercise in futility. It's incredibly slow, it's highly error-prone, and it's going to lead straight to severe cognitive burnout. Nobody wants that. So the real question is, how on earth do ethical hackers uncover these paths without completely burning out? Well, the answer, as you might guess, is automation. To get us there, let's quickly run through our roadmap for this explainer. First, the hidden JavaScript goldmine. Second, we'll demystify the link finder tool. Third, 3 core discovery methods. Fourth, building your recon toolkit. And finally, 5, pitfalls and realistic expectations. We're going to take you all the way from understanding the core problem to practically monetizing your discoveries. All right, Section 1, the hidden JavaScript goldmine, uncovering structural maps in plain sight. Let's look at what developers are actually doing with JavaScript under the hood. Mostly, they're using it to handle background asynchronous data actions. So, say you click a button to view an invoice. A script silently fires off a background request. That specific location, the actual URL path where that server action happens, is what we call an endpoint. Think of a path like an internal billing export route, right? Now, finding these undocumented endpoints is a massive security gap. Since they're not in the official docs, internal security teams rarely scrutinize them. They often bypass corporate firewalls entirely and lack proper access controls, making them basically the perfect precursor for uncovering critical flaws like BOLA, broken object-level authorization. Moving on to Section 2, demystifying the link finder tool, the ultimate parsing engine. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the solution itself. Since doing this manually at scale is just impossible, we turn to Link Finder to solve that burnout problem. This is a brilliant open-source Python script by security researcher Gerben Jamadow, and it basically acts as a massive filter for all that messy client-side code. First, it uses the Python JS beautifier library to take that completely unreadable, minified single-line JavaScript and format it into clean, readable paragraphs. Then it hits it with highly optimized regular expressions, or regex, specifically tuned to pull out absolutely every string that looks even remotely like a URL path, an API routing, or a local file link. When you put these two approaches side by side, the difference is night and day. Manual discovery, it's painfully slow and pretty much guarantees burnout. Automated discovery with Link Finder, on the other hand, is lightning fast. It instantly snags relative paths like, say, /API/v1/user, along with the absolute paths, and then just consolidates everything into a clean, readable format. This is exactly how the pros are uncovering those super lucrative beta features or deprecated API endpoints that developers just forgot to erase. Section 3, 3 core discovery methods, unleashing Link Finder's full potential. Experienced bug bounty hunters definitely don't rely on just one linear workflow. They use a multi-layered approach to really maximize their results. Let's start with method 1, direct single URL target scanning. This is what you use when you want to isolate a really high-value script, maybe a core configuration script on an authentication dashboard. First, you just identify the specific JavaScript URL right in your browser's developer tools. Then you feed that direct link straight into Link Finder via your terminal. Bam! You instantly get this elegant HTML document mapping out every single discovered route, including those sneaky hidden admin paths. Next up is Method 2, local directory batch analysis. So what happens when you need to analyze thousands of JavaScript files all at once? Well, you start by downloading or scraping an offline copy of all the site's assets straight to your local machine. From there, you run Link Finder using a wildcard character to target that entire folder and use recursive lookups to deep scan any secondary nested folders. Doing this locally lets professionals use offline command filters to rapidly isolate high-value strings. We're talking paths containing words like v2, private, or session out of thousands of results. And this brilliantly illustrates Method 3, the fully automated multi-domain pipeline. This is for those massive corporate networks with hundreds of subdomains where manual entry is just a non-starter. Here, operators discover active subdomains using a tool like Subfinder. Then they extract all historically known JS endpoints using GAU. That stands for Get All URLs. Finally, they pipe those filtered targets directly into Link Finder. This one unified terminal command dynamically builds out a master architecture map. It essentially saves an entire goldmine of internal hidden links cleanly into a single text file. It's pretty amazing. All right, Section 4, Building Your Recon Toolkit. Free and paid tools for professional infrastructure. To actually build a sustainable income stream in asset discovery, you really need an integrated suite of tools. It's like a giant puzzle. You've got Link Finder for extracting the hidden paths, right? And you pair that with Burp Suite to intercept browser traffic in real time. We also just talked about Subfinder and JU for discovering those corporate subdomains and fetching cached files. But then you add Argent, an awesome open-source tool that discovers hidden HTTP parameters within the very endpoints Link Finder just found for you. And lastly, you use Nuclei to automatically scan those discovered endpoints for known security flaws. Linking all these tools together, that is exactly how the professionals scale up their operations. Finally, Section 5, Pitfalls and Realistic Expectations. Avoiding beginner mistakes to ensure success. Okay, before we jump into the execution phase, we have to ground ourselves in reality here. So the crucial point is this: you absolutely must understand the difference between legal and illegal targets. Let me be clear. Scanning random websites on the internet without explicit permission, that is unethical and it carries very serious legal consequences. You must only ever scan legal targets. We're talking about invited programs hosted on official platforms like HackerOne, BugCrowd, or Integrity. These platforms host multi-million-dollar corporations that are explicitly inviting and paying you to hack their codebases legally. Always, always double-check your scope definitions. Beyond the legality stuff, there are 4 major beginner mistakes you need to dodge. Mistake number 1, giving up after scanning just a single script. Endpoint discovery is literally a volume game. You're going to have to scan hundreds of scripts. Mistake 2 is scanning out-of-scope targets, which we just hammered home. Mistake 3 is failing to verify those discovered paths. Remember, Link Finder is just extracting raw text strings. It doesn't actually verify if those endpoints work or if they're vulnerable. That part is on you. And mistake 4 is overlooking continuous asset updates. JavaScript changes all the time. A script that gave you 0 results last month might be absolutely packed with developer shortcuts today. Now, let's anchor on this number for a second. $1,000. Look, the internet is completely full of wild claims about making thousands overnight with some basic automation. But here's the reality. Substantial income is absolutely achievable, for sure, but it demands an objective approach. Finding a high-value vulnerability that actually yields a $1,000 bounty payout, that typically requires reviewing dozens, if not hundreds, of endpoints across multiple target domains. At the end of the day, your earning power is directly tied to your thoroughness and your consistency. I want to wrap up this explainer with a really powerful perspective from our source material. It says, treat this field like a professional data science puzzle. The operators who earn consistently are those who systematically document their targets and persistently look where others get tired and stop. You now have the fundamental framework. The only real gap between a curious beginner and a successful security analyst is just consistent action. So here's my challenge to you. Download Python, pull down the Link Finder toolset, find some authorized target listings, and start mapping the web's hidden architecture today. What hidden endpoints will you uncover first?